All right, what's going on, everybody, man? Welcome to our college football recap show, man. We're super excited to have y'all here, man. We're gonna be talking about everything that happened in college football. We also have a man that's joining us that's gonna be on our show every single Saturday night. That's SB Prod, man. Obviously does a great work. He's gonna be on site, man. A lot of these games, obviously, I'll be at Georgia Tech. He's gonna be everywhere, obviously doing his thing, man. We'll have Bacon as well, doing his thing and getting obviously some, different film, different things like that and giving his insight and his intel, man. But without further ado, enough chopping it up. Let's go ahead and bring everybody on, man. Let's bring on my co-host, Alvon Bacon of Bacon Network. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. Kick back watching my boy Deleon Freeman Hawaii versus whoever they're playing right now. But yeah, I'm checking in, man. So I'm chilling.
Gotcha. All right, and let's bring on the third co-host, man. SB Prod, man. Of Prod Media. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
So Bacon, what's up? Bacon, is that a Larry June organic shirt?
Organic Negro?
Never mind. Good evening, gentlemen. I like that shirt. I'm gonna need that in the XL for sure.
I got
How
you,
y'all
brother.
doing, man?
Doing good, brother. Everybody liking that shirt, man. You got compliments today too at the Creek game, bro.
Nah, for sure. When I pull it out, it's all love, man. I need to get some more colors.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure.
Facts.
Good to see you, Steve.
100%,
Yes,
man.
sir. Good to see y'all, man.
Good to see you too, man. Hope everything's been well, man. We'll go ahead and start with you. Obviously, a big win. Let's go ahead and just recap real quick that USF versus Boise State game. Obviously, big win for you. You were on the sideline. The scene shared obviously a couple clips. What was your reaction to just dominating the win for USF?
Yeah, I think Boise started the game off pretty strong, controlling the line of scrimmage, running the ball. They scored first. Everything from the second quarter on was all USF. Byron Brown is the story here. Was able to talk to him after the game. He's much bigger than he looks on TV. He is legit 230 pounds. And they call those design runs for him, and he's able to convert. The receivers are really, really good. And their defense is sneaky good. Very athletic, super physical. They just wanted the game more. The table was set for them. Alex Golesh, their coach, is really solid. He's been kind of having that program trending in the right direction. And they caught Boise State slipping, and they couldn't match the energy. So USF definitely deserved the win, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do against Florida and Miami coming up soon, which are really big games for them.
100%, man. I agree. That's going to be a good test for them. See where they at. Obviously, locked and loaded, and just seeing what they're going to be able to do moving forward, man. But like you said, big win for them. Boise State got a lot to figure out, but still early one game. You don't want to overreact too much. But as we started the show, just wanted to get your synopsis, your thoughts, obviously, on that. SB Prod. But let's keep it going, man. I ain't gonna waste no time. I mean, it's other games I could talk about, but I'm gonna talk about the big one. Obviously, you were a big Florida State fan, so we might well go ahead and start off the show with that one. That was a huge victory for you guys. So I'm going to go on your intel. I did miss this one, SB Prod, because I was at the Creekside versus DeSoto game. So I'm gonna kind of allow you to kind of guide us what happened. Why was Florida State able to dominate Bama in a way? And how the announcer said it, they said Alabama looked average and lethargic. So, what was just your biggest assessment?
Yeah, a lot of folks were looking to see what this team was going to look like. New offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn, new defensive coordinator Tony White. Both guys have had tremendous amount of success where they came from. A lot of new assistant coaches, a lot of players from the transfer portal, but a lot of the contributing players that made impacts in this game, particularly defensively, were guys that were already there. Sometimes it just helps to have a new voice, and guys that really believe in your abilities. They control the line of scrimmage. I can't say I haven't seen Alabama look like this. I did work their bowl game against Michigan in January, and they were pushed around the same way. I think we're gonna have to start having conversations about Kalen DeBoer, and the physicality of this team. We understand the talent they're able to bring with 4 stars and 5 stars, but this was absolutely unacceptable. To recap the game, that first drive, Bama got the ball first. I believe they went on a 7 or 8 minute drive, 14, 15 play drive, 3 or 4 third down conversions and scored, but you can really tell the physicality of the game will set the tone. Florida State set the tone there. Even when the guys were converting those first downs, they were getting tagged on pretty badly. And Florida State was able to respond. I believe they went 3-and-out. Then they got a stop on Bama, and then I think they scored their next 3 possessions. So Proctor, the left tackle, is as expected, but the rest of the offensive line really struggled. They were able to bracket Ty Simpson. This is the first game, first season opening loss in 20-something plus years for Alabama. I believe it's 25 over 25 years. It's the first time they've been held over 100 yards in almost that same amount of time in a season. I think since 1970 in a season opener, first time they haven't rushed for 100 yards. They only rushed for 80 yards tonight. Maybe 45 of those were quarterback scrambles from Ty Simpsons on some, breakdowns and things along those lines. But Florida State was able to control the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively. Tommy Castellanos backed up his words. He said this is not the same Alabama as before. They don't have Saban. Guys aren't scared of Bama. And Tommy backed it up. 152 yards passing, probably another 100 on the ground. And then they did a healthy dose of three or four, I think it was 3 different running backs that they ran with today. And they all did really, really well. They hit him on explosive plays. Bama didn't hit any explosive plays. Ryan Williams, I think, maybe had 1 or 2 catches today. So they locked him up pretty well. Bernard had a great game, but outside of that, man, if you look at the third down numbers, I think Bama might have gone like 70 for. I think it was. I forgot how many third down conversions. I have to look at the stat, but they were on the field a lot and didn't convert third downs. They went for them fourth down several times, and it didn't work. 17. So 6 for 17. Florida State set the tone offensively, defensively. This is a new offensive line. Those guys looked the part. A lot of those guys played in the SEC. Some of those guys beat Bama before, so they weren't scared of them either. And that run game is lethal, man. So Florida State had something to say, and they really set the tone. And after that, we rushed the field, and it's a party in Tallahassee tonight, man. Good vibes over here.
Now, my biggest question, I thought they're begging to get his thoughts. Just a lot of people are asking, is Florida State back, or are you taking it with a grain of salt as a fan? Like what's your thoughts on that, or is it just one game? How do you approach that as a fan?
I'm always going to look at everything as one game, but I mean, anytime you beat Bama in this fashion, if you're talking about a 1-point win, a fluke play, maybe a fumbled snap, a walk-off field goal, I look at it this differently. We dominated in every statistical category. It was a clean sheet on the turnover end. Bama did fumble the ball. We weren't able to convert it, but clean sheet on that end. But when you're able to run the ball whenever you want, however you want, on a team like Alabama with those athletes, I think that really sets the tone, and that shows you what it is. Gus Malzahn has beat Alabama more than anybody, considering he was the Auburn coach back in the day. And I think that mentality just kind of seeped its way through the offense. Defensively, Tony White did his thing. So I think we're back, man. I'm going to say it's just one game. We do have a couple games here that are very winnable games. I look at us as being undefeated going into that October 4th matchup against Miami here in Tallahassee. If Miami takes care of their job tomorrow night, then that's going to be College game day here in Tallahassee. And that's something that hasn't happened in a couple years. So I'm excited about that.
All right, go ahead, Bacon. What's your reaction?
Well, first off, Steve, I mean, you know what I'm saying? If Alabama isn't, you know what I'm saying, the same, man, I feel you're saying a little high, but for them not to be the same, I understand that you're dominating in every category, and I agree with you. I agree with everybody saying it. I think killing the boys on the hot seat, Alabama is what it used to be. There's not that physical identity that it once had, so just want you to elaborate again on why you feel like, you know what I'm saying, the Seminoles are back on track. Is it the quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Is it Gus Bus? You know what I'm saying? What is it for you?
Yeah, I think the offense, the offensive identity of Gus Malzahn and what he's been able to do isn't the most. There's some complexities to it, but there's some fundamental ideologies that are in the game plan that I think Kalen DeBoer in Alabama knew was coming for the last 8-9 months, and still were not able to stop it. Now, if you're coming with razzle dazzle, if you're spreading it 5 wide, if you have a bunch of end arounds, a bunch of trick plays, that's a different conversation. But when I'm looking at you dead in your face and I'm telling you I'm going to run the ball down your throat, I'm not really doing a lot of misdirection. I'm going east or west. I'm really going north and south, and you can't stop it. You have 5-star athletes all over the place. You got LT Overton. You got all these guys that are going to be first-round picks, and you still can't stop it. I think, honestly, obviously, we want to talk about Kalen DeBoer and what things look like for him, but they still got great coaches there, and they weren't able to stop what we were able to do whenever we wanted to do it. So that's why I'm going to say I'm not just going to take it with a grain of salt. You have a team that's bigger than you, probably better athletically than you are, and you're able to move them around whenever you want. I think that sets the tone, and I think that sends a message to a lot of the guys that are on the schedule moving forward, that this isn't the same old Florida State from last year.
I mean, well said, brother. I mean, yeah, that's a great point. We will see as the season unfolds. But you know what I'm saying? Ty Simpson, 254 yards, 2 tuggies. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Williams, only 5 receptions. Isaiah Horton, you know what I'm saying, probably should have stayed in Miami, only caught 1 pass there or should have went somewhere else. Again, I know it's a, you know what I'm saying, game 1 for the Crimson Tide. But, you know what I mean, 17-31 is not a bad – it's not a good look, you know what I'm saying, especially to lose at home and to have a quarterback call you out who transferred in from Boston College who wasn't, you know what I'm saying, they wasn't a mountain – got benched and wasn't even a mountain mover last year. I mean, that's not a – you know what I'm saying, that's not good on your resume to start this season.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah. College football is so much about fit. You guys know that. You know, Haynes King, right? We talk about him a lot. His style of play wouldn't fit in a lot of other, you know, teams. He's not a 5 wide spread quarterback, a air raid guy. He's the perfect guy for that Georgia Tech offense. I think Tommy's the perfect guy for this type of offense. Gus Malzahn recruited him at UCF when he was at UCF before Tommy transferred to Boston College, which makes sense. Tommy was stuck in a pro style system with Bill O'Brien last year that didn't fit his skill set, and this fits his skill set, man. Being able to run whenever you want with a variety of different running backs, a variety of different looks, balanced, unbalanced. And then him being able to use his athleticism on 3rd down or on 3rd and longs or whatever the situation may be. I think he's in a perfect spot. Sometimes you just want to feel wanted, man. And I think the community has brought him in, the coaching staff's brought him in, and even though he was talking crazy in the offseason, it galvanized the troops and it provided leadership that this team definitely didn't have last year with DJU. So, you know, just like Haynes did last night, man, the right quarterback in the right situation, anything can happen, man.
Quick question. We'll move on. SB, your thoughts just on the performance of true freshman Usman Kroma. Obviously, he was Mr. Georgia last year. See, they featured him a pretty good bit. 7 carries, the most out of anybody outside of Tommy Castellanos. So, like, what's your thoughts on his play as a true freshman?
You know, it's interesting. You have some insight on his recruitment. Obviously, him being a Lee County kid. And I've actually got into an argument. Shout out to my boy Clay Fink. He's also a content creator and writer from Florida State Beat. He kept telling me about Usman as soon as he got to campus, how Usman's probably going to be the lead back and things. I'm like, yo, there's no way. Like, it's too soon, right? And then he hits camp, and everybody keeps talking about during the camp, during the offseason, like, this kid's different. This kid's probably going to be the guy. And that's really what it is. He's just different, man. There's a reason Kirby Smart really wanted him. A lot of the schools really wanted him. I just feel bad because I knew he was good. I didn't think he was this good. We're talking about a guy, by the time Miami rolls around, he's going to be the starting running back. He's got everything you need. I'm super, super, super excited. If you go back and read some of the articles, every player on defense has mentioned him. Offensive line has mentioned him, and they keep saying that he's different. So that's what he is, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to progress. This is a place in regards to Florida State that's relied heavy on the transfer portal the last couple of years and hasn't really relied on a lot of young true freshmen. You got Usman, who's going to be that guy. You got Javen Boggs, who was Mr. Florida. He won Mr. Florida over Jeremiah Smith a couple years ago. He had 2,000 yards receiving last year in the state of Florida. That counts for something. He started today as a true freshman. You had Montrell Desir, a true freshman out of Miami. Him and his twin brother got a lot of snaps today. Duty Arnaud from Carrollton. He's in the 2 deep. He was not going to say why he didn't play today, but he will be back next week. He would have played today as well as a true freshman. So you're kind of seeing the narrative change with Mike Norvell, and he's taking more of a GM role, which I feel he needs to do, and he's just letting his coaches do what they do best. But shout out to Usman, man. He's that guy. We're super excited to have him.
100%, brother. Appreciate that. Obviously, we'll leave it there, man. Great insight. Like I said, I can't give the most because I couldn't, I didn't see this game. I was at Creekside to start on, man. So we appreciate SB for taking that over for us, man, and giving us honest thoughts. All right, I'm gonna throw it to you, Bacon. What other game did you want to hit on, or something that stood out to you? We just talk about the top games or results that stood out.
I mean, we got to talk about. The game just went off, so we might well hit Clemson, LSU, and after that, probably hit Ohio State.
All right, man, that was ugly. But okay, Bacon, I'll let you get the first dibs on this one.
LSU, Clemson, the battle of Death Valleys. It just came down to really the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? Cade Klubnik, what I saw, didn't really miss a lot of throws. It really just came down to him getting rushed off his spot. And really, your linebacker, LSU's front seven is just legit. They rushed him off the spot, broke up plays, and it was tough for him to kind of find passing lanes. But again, so you gotta tip your cap to LSU's quarterback, man. Made throws when he needed to. I thought that pass to the front right pylon was a touchdown. They called it incomplete, but it ended up working out in their favor to win ultimately at the end. But LSU's defense is legit.
Mhm.
And how far will Nussmeier, take this team? I feel like, they are a CFB championship contender after the performance they put on today.
What SB? What you think?
I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. I think everything Bacon just said is correct. There was doubts. A lot of the doubts on LSU. Obviously, Brian Kelly's inability to win big games in the beginning of the season. So this was a big hurdle for him to overcome. They replaced 4 starters on the offensive line. That was the main reason why I picked Clemson. I thought that Clemson's defensive front with Peter Woods and TJ Parker and some of those other guys were going to be too much. And honestly, man, they were able to withhold the storm. Very impressive for them to come back down 7. They didn't have some calls their way. Multiple fumbles, as Bacon can attest to, multiple fumbles throughout the game for LSU. They're able to overcome the turnover issue and still end up winning the game. Nussmeier made timely plays, and game was on the line for Klubnik to make, to win it. And they threw an exotic blitz with Harold Perkins, and him doing what he does best, which is rushing the passer. And Klubnik wasn't able to make the play. But what I will say, I'm not a big fan of LSU. Well, I am a fan of LSU. I don't like their coach. I do like Nussmeier. I love their players. At first I was kind of rooting for him, and then I kind of switched my stance and wanted Clemson to win. I think if Clemson would have won, you're talking about 3 top 10 SEC teams losing in the same day. Not sure that's ever happened or when the last time that happened. So damn you, Clemson, for dropping the ball on that. But hey, man, it was still good ball. It was a great game. And LSU is definitely a CFB contender. There's going to be a lot of anarchy and chaos throughout the season. So I think they can make a run. Maybe this is the year they can get to Atlanta. I know they haven't been there since the Joe Burrow year. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, I agree with y'all sentiment, man. Shout out to Aaron Anderson. He had a good game, 6 catches, 99 yards in that one. He was really good with the ball in his hands in open space. Caden Durham, like I said, they got something there. Over 74 yards rushing in this one, a touchdown. He's just a bell cow, man. And that's why I made the plays he needed to make. My biggest takeaway, the defense is for real, for once. Like, you know what I'm saying? You look at Monsieur Delane, you look at Whit Weeks, you look at them being to create pressure with Patrick Payton. Like, they got everything they need in order to win, similar to what y'all boys said, being a college football playoff contender. And it was no question on their offensive line. They battled that's a great front. That is an NFL front. And to be able to protect them for the most part, not make them feel rushed or anything, I think that was great. Clemson got problems, though. Clemson got to figure out their offensive line. Like, that is not going to cut it, bro. It ain't. That is not going to cut it. If they're trying to win the title for real, yeah, they got to short it up. And then
it's been a weakness for a couple of years, Nash.
What do you say?
It's been a weakness for a couple of years. I don't believe they've had a lineman drafted in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft in over a decade. Nobody talks about that because there's just so much talent around it. So they do need to address that.
Yes.
But then again, they're not going to face an LSU every week, right? So we pros and cons of both. We don't want to overreact too much, but you're 100% right on that, Nash.
Yeah, they got to figure that out. And you're right, brother. They don't play at LSU again, but you got Georgia Tech coming up in a couple of weeks, and that team is physical. You know what I'm saying? And you seen it against Colorado. They wore them down. Like that is the type of team Georgia Tech is. So if you ain't got the physicality in the trenches, good luck. Like rushing for 31 yards, man, that's not gonna cut it, bro. You know what I'm saying? At all. Like you gotta have more of a running game. You can't put all that on Cade. No disrespect, he only had a 50% completion percentage. Like, no, mind you, he was blitzed, injury to one of their best players, Antonio Williams, but at the same time, it has to be more fluidity to the offense. So to y'all,
are you going to be there for that game, Naj and Bacon? Clemson, September 13th. Clemson, Georgia Tech. Is that the plan?
Mm-hmm.
I will be there as well. How about that? Riddle me that.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait. That's going to be a big one. Can't wait.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, I think it's on ABC. Hopefully, they'll get college game day down there. But I don't know. With Clemson, losing that one, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, nonetheless, man, that's my thoughts, man. It'll be an interesting game to see where Clemson is. I still think, they're a college football playoff contender, but they got to work on the offensive line. And your point, SB, like, it's been a problem for years. And they're recruiting it. They're getting 4 stars coming in. So it's like, why is it not translating? So we will see and see how they recover, man. But that's my thoughts.
Can anybody attest to? I know they were talking about at the beginning of the game. I was editing, so I can't remember everything, but they were talking about an LSU player that was supposed to. He was supposed to sit out in the second half because of something that happened last year before. I think he came from Houston, and Coach Sweeney, you know what I'm saying, Dabo Sweeney, he protested it and made LSU and the officiating staff, it held him accountable for him to sit out for the first half. Can y'all attest to what actually happened during that time?
Yeah, so his last game when he was with Houston, he punched somebody.
Yeah.
We got into like an altercation. He ended up hitting somebody, pushed the official to the side. So that was the last game of the season. It's always for college football. If you do something and you get suspended or whatever it may be, you always miss the first half of the next game that you're supposed to play, which the next game, it being the last game of the regular season, is the first game of the new season, which was this game. So basically, just telling them to follow the rules. And that did happen last year, but again, a rule is a rule, so just hold them accountable, essentially.
100%, brother. Appreciate you clearing the air for us.
Of course, man. No problem at all, man. All right, let's get to the next game, man. We'll keep it rolling. Ohio State, obviously, versus Texas. I'm going to start with you, SB, man, and get your honest thoughts on the game. You know, a struggle for Arch, like he started to kind of figure it out a little bit in the second half, but just what was your overall assessment of the Ohio State-Texas game?
Ohio State's offense is legit. I think they've got dogs in each level. Obviously, Caleb Downs, there's no need to mention that kid, right? He's probably a top 5 pick in the NFL draft next year. The linebackers is really impressed me, man. They really were able to come downhill, play in space, neutralize a lot of the things towards the outside, towards the boundary, playing the flats and really handle business. And man, you got 2 Gwinnett kids out there handling business in the inside of the line, man. Edric Houston and McDonald, Buford kid, North Gwinnett kid handling business, man. They were really wrecking shop early in the game. And they were sitting on Arch's lap and forcing him to try to make throws that he, quite frankly, wasn't comfortable with. You know, I tweeted something out. You know, Arch had more commercials than completions in the first half. And I got some Texas fans that said some not so nice things. So shout out to Texans, man. Horns down. Ohio State definitely handled business today. I think they need to figure some things out. I don't think their receiving core is as good as it was last year, but they can definitely continue to, develop and make sure they find out what plays Arch likes best, situationally, what to do. Their schedule's a gauntlet, man. And if they play like this, they won't beat Florida. If they play like this, they won't beat some of these other teams on the schedule, man. If I had them, I had circled this game down, and if they lose this game, if they don't play the right way, they could go 9-3 this year. I know this sounds preposterous, but if you look at that schedule, you might see what I'm talking about. So obviously, this is a game that is not an SEC conference game. It doesn't necessarily matter. Everything that you want is still in front of you. You can still make it to Atlanta. But it was hard to watch, man. This was a tough game to watch. If you like defense, this is a good game for you. There was also some miscues, some opportunities for big plays that didn't occur. But shout out to Ohio State for handling business. But Texas, I don't think will go anywhere. I think Arch will figure it out. And if he doesn't, maybe we crowned him too early, man. We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a second that motion. SB. I think it's 7-14. It could have went anybody's way. I know Arch struggled. 17 for 30, 170 and an interception. I think in this game really comes down to Ohio State control the trenches. They control the line of scrimmage, and that's what forced Arch to be uneasy in that first half. Like you said, he figured it out in the second half. Too little, too late. But I think as time progresses in his press conference, he took all the blame, took all the accountability, which is big. You want your sophomore quarterback to step up. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a leader. Damn, and being a man, you want to be a leader and take accountability in front of his guys. I think he did that today. Sarkisian's got a good offensive scheme. You know what I'm saying? Being a Falcons fan, you know what I'm saying? I got to see it firsthand. We saw it last year with Quinn Ewers, but it's different this year, right? It's more of a pro style, you know what I'm saying, a normal offense. So Ohio State, both teams' defenses are legit, you know what I'm saying? But let's see how it unfolds. But he is going to have to grow up quick because, like you just said, SB, you know what I'm saying, this is a very tough schedule. You just, like you said, you got to see Florida, you got to see Georgia, and, you know what I'm saying, everybody else. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, my SB, I remember your sentiment, bro. Like you look at his schedule, yeah, you got to go on the road to Georgia this year. You got to go on the road to Florida this year. Them ain't no gimme games, bro. So I mean, you're 100% with this loss. They can definitely go 9-3. They're gonna have to try to edge out one of those games for sure. So the offensive play call, I didn't like to be honest with you guys. I think they need to do a better job with that. And then some of it, like I was pointing out a play, that play where Livingston dropped the touchdown pass. He literally had a pick rub route over the middle of the field to his receiver, number one. If he throws that play, he likely scores, or worst case, he's hit near the goal line. I just think reading the team to feel better, Archer's going to have to work on. But at the same time, I take it with a grain of salt, y'all. This is the defending state champions or defending national champions. Got one of the best safeties, or had the best safety in the game. A top 5 pick, as you alluded to, SB. And this defense is something serious. Like Sonny Styles, like talk about Houston, talk about McDonald. Like that defense is for real. And that's his first real test against an elite team. He didn't play an elite team. He played Louisiana Monroe, and he hasn't played a real team. So it's going to be ugly. He got to get used to it. So I did like that he took them steps forward and got better throughout the game. But like you said, SB, you hit the nail on the head. This receiving core is not as good as it was last year. It just ain't, right? You don't have Isaiah Bond. You don't have Matthew Golden. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Wingo was a true freshman who really stepped up. Who on this receiving core is going to step up is the question. I don't really like Livingstone got to play better and play good. It can't be just the Wingo show. Like somebody else got to step up. They did do a good job of balancing out, running the ball about 37 times, which helped Arch, but they got to have receivers to be able to create separation. That's going to be critical. And then obviously last thing on Ohio State, Julian Sayin did everything he needed to do. He was efficient, 65% completion percentage, 126 yards, touchdown, didn't turn over the ball. Leaned on Donaldson Jr., leaned on that elite defense, and made the throws when he needed to. Uncharacteristic in this game, though, SB, with Jeremiah Smith, 2 drops.
Right.
Got to work on that a little bit. But nonetheless, he is an elite talent. But Ohio State, a big statement victory, I would say.
100%. I was shocked when he dropped those 2 drops, but he's still a cyborg. He's still not human to me. So
I think
all is well.
Because, you know what I'm saying? He was so eager to get the ball, man. He didn't get the first 2 or 3 drives, and he was finally getting it, trying to make things happen, and he didn't tuck it in. He didn't rely on his fundamentals. I think that's what happened.
100%.
Like that you mentioned Donaldson. Lastly, too, man. Donaldson was a great pickup by Ohio State. Sneaky pickup in the transfer portal, man. I was able to watch him play in the Frisco Bowl last year in person at West Virginia, man. He is a dude. I was hoping Florida State would give him a call, but Ohio State gave him that bag and that phone call, and he's that guy. I think he's going to play on Sundays. I'm not saying he's a top pick or anything like that, but super physical back, and Ohio State's not going anywhere, man. So unless you can win close games like this, I don't think you're going to blow them out or really outscore them in a shootout. So you're going to have to kind of play in a dirty, grimy possession type of game moving forward. But we'll deal with that when the time comes.
For sure. Last note on this game, I do want to give a shout out to the Texas defense. They only gave up 203 yards all game and only 77 rushing. That's a pretty impressive, man. So that Texas defense that we didn't really talk about, they were elite today too. They did everything they needed to do to give Arch a chance. The whole game to figure it out. That Texas defense is something serious for as well.
100%.
But all right, y'all, we're going to keep it rolling, man. Let's talk a little bit about Syracuse versus Tennessee, man. A big victory for the Vols, man. I'm going to start with you, SB. Just what you heard, what you saw as far as highlights from the game, just Joey Aguilar's performance, or just quick thoughts.
There's been a lot of negativity towards Tennessee this offseason. A lot of injuries during camp, things like that. The whole quarterback situation with Nico leaving and Joey coming in. I'm really not going to read too much into this game. Syracuse really lost a lot, man. They lost a lot from last year's team. Love Fran Brown, one of my favorite coaches in college football. Love what he's got going on, but I don't really take this game too much into Tennessee's favor. I think Syracuse is going to struggle this year. If you look at their schedule, Naj, if you can pull that up, I don't know, man. Maybe they did a deal with the devil last year. Syracuse schedule is absolutely brutal. At Clemson, at Notre Dame. Like this, it's like if you keep going, let's keep reading that off. At Clemson, at Notre Dame, at Miami, at Georgia Tech, at SMU. Do I need to keep going? Syracuse is going to have a rough year this year, and this was the beginning of it, bro. It's going to look bad. So shout out to Tennessee. Good for them winning, but I don't know about that. It's going to have a rough year for them.
Okay, so basically you're waiting to evaluate Tennessee when they play Georgia in a couple weeks. Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. Smooth. Bacon.
I mean, from what I saw, I kind of watched it after it got out of hand. I was watching heavy on that Ohio State Texas game, but you got to admire the resiliency from the Syracuse offense, or the Syracuse team. You know what I'm saying? The reports mid game, Fran Brown was talking to his guys like, "Hey guys, this is the first game of the season." Didn't know at the time they had a hell of a schedule, but talking to his team, "Hey guys, this is the first game of the season." You know what I mean? Keep at it. You know what I mean? A team is going to take on the identity of his head coach. We all know what type of head coach he is. You know what I'm saying? For them to be down, I think it was like 20 to a score. For them to end with 26 points, I mean it's resiliency. It's something you could build off of. Steve Angeli had a solid game. You know what I mean? He got some production offensively, 103 yards on the ground. But your question mark is your defense. That's your question mark. And it's gonna I believe Coach Fran said the team takes on an identity, or if you get more of a mode, your coach's mode on your team. I think year 2. So this is gonna be. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if that holds true. That sentiment holds true for this team, because they got a hell of a way to go, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they pan out. What you thought, Dosh?
Nah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. I did like how they was able to run the ball, which should bode well. I think they, just run the ball, depend a little bit more on Yasin Willis. He had a really impressive game today, 3 touchdowns. Give Steve Angeli some time. Like, he's played a little bit at Notre Dame before he came to Syracuse, but you got to give him time to get into some rhythm, in my humble opinion. I like what Jonte Cook can bring to the table for them. I think he's going to be a great receiver for them moving forward. It gives them another weapon. No, it's not Trevor Pena. No, it's not Orton Gaston, but it does help out your football team a lot. But I agree with SB Prod. It could be a tough year for Syracuse. Just the schedule and figuring things out different. The defense I don't think will be as good as it was last year. And I think they might struggle a little bit. Tennessee, I know everybody, wants to take, with a grain of salt, but that was an impressive performance, man. I thought, Aguilar, like the first couple plays, he was hitting a little bit high. Early drops from Mike Matthews, sailing some balls, but he settled into the game good. He didn't turn it over but one time on a mesh point with the running back, but he was hitting those downfield throws, man. That bomb, y'all go check it out. Braylon Staley, excuse me, just throwing it. He absolutely cooked his defender, went outside, then in, and he threw a amazing 73-yard bomb. You know what I'm saying, to him. So if Tennessee can get 1 or 2 of those a game, they could be lethal. And then the rushing attack. Nobody gives Darrell Sims his credit, but he's doing a hell of a job. Like, that's a really good stable of backs that they got. True freshman. Star Thomas is probably one of the more complete backs nobody talks about, coming over from Duke. He can catch it out of the backfield. He can pass, block, and protect. You look at Deshaun Bishop. He had a really great performance. He had a couple 25-plus yard runs in this game. So they got everything they need. And the receiver core is going to take some time, but they got the pieces they need. Love to see Travis Smith Jr. being to get a little bit of burn. No, he didn't have a catch, but he was on the field. I got a chance to see him, true freshman, formerly of Westlake, out here in Georgia. So that was cool to see. But they got some pieces. But I'm with SB Pro. I want to see them when they play up against Georgia, like kind of how that looks. Because Georgia's going to be a contender. You see what Georgia did to Marshall. Held him to 40 yards of offense in the first half. That's going to be a good test to see what his team is. But I thought it was a really good performance week 1.
Well said, brother.
All right. Now, before we go to top performances, any other games you fellas wanted to hit on or talk about that caught y'all out week 1?
Yeah, I think a lot of the obviously you guys touched on Georgia Tech, Colorado yesterday. And obviously it's a big matchup. I'll be down in Miami for that one tomorrow against Notre Dame. Also be paying attention to that South Carolina Virginia Tech game. That's sneaky, very interesting. Big fan of Kyron Jones. And I want to see what Coach Pry is able to do with Virginia Tech this year, how they've improved, what they've been able to do. South Carolina, there's expectations on you guys' hands for the first time in a long time. You have arguably, in my opinion, the best quarterback prospect in this year's draft. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback, but I think he's going to get drafted higher than anybody else, including Nussmeier and these other guys, because of his ceiling and Lenore Sellers. So we haven't seen South Carolina have expectations preseason like this since Steve Spurrier was a coach over 10, 15 years ago when they were doing their thing with the Stephen Garcia and the Stephen Gilmores and the Marcus Lattimores and the David Clowneys and things like that. Alshon Jeffrey. We haven't seen a South Carolina team with expectations like this. So outside of that, a lot of the other top, other teams played cupcakes. But you guys did a great job with obviously the Colorado game yesterday was crazy, right? The whole felt like the whole country was watching that. But outside of that, I don't know if there's any other games that stand out to you guys.
Did you have? I know obviously you talked about it in great detail yesterday. Did you have any thoughts on it, or just any questions from that game? Like you wanted to ask us something about it.
Man, I loved it, man. I think it was such a good game. If you're a Georgia Tech fan, you're questioning how healthy Haynes King is right now. He was hobbling a lot towards the end of that game. I remember last touchdown he scored, he's just shaking guys' hands with his left hand, not his right hand. He's like sitting on the bench. I'm like, that's interesting. He's kind of holding his shoulder a little bit. Obviously, we know what happened last year with that. And I hate for that kid to be hurt in any capacity because I love his game. He's really grown on me as a player. So hope to see him doing well with that. Just so they can get more dynamic in the passing game. Obviously, they weren't able to really do that because he wasn't healthy. He took a big shot, I think, in the second quarter to his shoulder. Georgia Tech's defense, love what they were able to do. Stevens needs to calm down a bit. He did cost his team some penalties. I love where he flies around and is super aggressive, but we have to tone it down a bit. Be smart. Their front is really good. Obviously, their linebackers are really good. There are some things that they need to improve on. They were able to set some Kyle effort on motions with the running back a lot and able to target that running back. But a lot of teams aren't going to have the running back that Colorado has. So he's really dynamic on both sides of the ball. But Georgia Tech, I know who they are. I want to see them healthy for the game that we talked about against Clemson so we can get a real good look of who they're really going to be this season. Colorado, man, I don't know, man. I don't think I'm sold on Salter. I think the play calling is bad. Pat Shermer's play calling is bad. It's been documented. I think the offensive line did a good job. I'm very impressed with Colorado's offensive line, but they just weren't making easy play calls for him. And when the calls were there, he wasn't seeing things. You gave Amarian Miller one target. It's unacceptable. You're seeing guys run open. You're seeing ghosts. You're thinking too hard. If we're going to have this type of performance from him, I might as well just go with the young bull and Julian Lewis and ride it out. And let's get better as the season goes on. We're not going to win a championship, and we might possibly still be able to contend in the Big 12. Who knows? Probably still be able to contend in the Big 12 with Julian. So if it's that close in their performances, then go with the young kid. I don't care what you pay Kaidon Salter. I was not impressed with his game yesterday. And a lot of his mistakes, the fact that he was even that close, considering they had Georgia Tech had three turnovers in the game, it tells you what it is, man. Colorado's got to do better. Play calling's got to get better. And if we see another performance or two like this in a big game, maybe the young bull comes out. The prodigal son returns, the chosen one, Julian Lewis, and they'll ride it out with him. I'm rooting for him. And I hope Colorado's able to fix it a bit. But Georgia Tech just out physical them yesterday. And I'm sure you guys touched on that. So
that's valid, bro. That's 100%. I mean, the Pat Shermer call, pulling Pat Shermer's card, that's valid, bro. I was talking to a lot of people today. They was calling for Julian to get PT. But I was like, man, first game, he did miss a lot of easy layup throws. That's facts. But I agree. You know what I'm saying? He could have had some easier route concepts. You know what I mean? It was a lot of him holding the ball, trying to really figure it out. So, you know what I mean? Those are valid points.
Nah, it's valid. Like we talked about yesterday, SB just keeping King healthy, the whole year. I mean, you need him. He obviously is, he is Georgia Tech, right? He's the unquestioned consummate leader for this team. They go as he goes, and with him with him at the helm, they can win any game. That was my biggest takeaway. But the reason they was running him so much is everybody's like, why he got 20 carries? That left side of the offensive line was getting obliterated. Like, that has to be better. You know what I'm saying? And 3 offensive starters they lost from last year's team on the offensive line. There was platoon swapping guys. Like, that's the part that they got to get better at. Thought the speed on the defensive perimeter was good. They were wrapping up a lot better, a lot more hard hits. That looked like a Texas Blake Gideon defense to me. I know he was the DB coach last year, but you could see them DBs flying around to the ball. Andre Fuller, I don't know if you saw that, SB, but he got some burn as a true freshman, formerly of Grayson, as I predicted and as I said. and he can potentially give them something. I thought Brady Manley would have a better game, but Fuller is already showing you as a true freshman, like he's going to see the field a lot, and he could be that piece for them that can generate pressures, and that's what they need because then that doesn't put as much pressure on your secondary and having to guard for as long as they have to. So that part, and I think just using your running backs more. That running back room is deep. Like they got Jamal, they got Malachi Hosley, they got Traylon Maddox from the Parkview. Using those guys more, I think, will be able to help them, and then don't have to lean so much on them. And then the vertical passing game, being able to hit the guys down the field, they got all the weapons they need. So I think real good win, improve a little bit. I think that'll be fine. 100%. Bagels, any games you had or any top performance you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, we definitely got to shout out Bryce Underwood being the only freshman today to really, play worth the damn. You know what I mean? Had a victory today against who they play. Let me pull this up real quick.
This Cal kid's looking pretty good right now. I don't know if you're watching that Cal Oregon State game. Another true freshman kid. I can't pronounce his name. I don't want to butcher it. Hawaiian kid, lefty. But he's dicing this Oregon State team up so far. But Bryce is the real deal, man. I like him. I think the hype is real. I think he's got one of the hardest commitment videos of all time. I think whoever thought of that, you found a clip of him at 4 years old pretending to read out his commitment and saying he was going to commit to the University of Michigan. That thing was some of beauty, man. That is cinematic excellence. I'm rooting for that kid. I root for all African-American quarterbacks selfishly, but I'm rooting for that kid. And we just haven't really seen I know they had what's his name over there in Minnesota? JJ McCarthy. I know we've had some quarterbacks drafted high, but I don't think Michigan's ever had a guy with this kid's skill set. So they're going to navigate it. They paid for it handsomely. So now it's time to, you buy a Ferrari, you don't drive it. You don't drive it to park it at the Publix parking lot. You drive it to go ahead and race it real fast. So I hope he continues to improve. Big game for them next week. College game day at Oklahoma. So we're going to see what this kid is real early, Bacon. We're going to see who he is. So I'm going to be locked in for that for sure.
Nah, most definitely 21 for 31, 251 through the air, one passing TD, man. That's a big time. Well, it's a good start, especially against New Mexico State. So, yeah, next week will be the big test.
And the great part is we'll all be here next week to recap that game here, right on our college football recap show, just giving our thoughts on how Bryce Underwood performed in a hostile environment in Norman, Oklahoma. Great test. John Mateer looked good today from what I heard for Oklahoma, was dicing that Illinois State defense up. That would be a really good game to watch and to see what happens.
100%. Do we want to talk about Auburn's win against Baylor? That's another
game. Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, for sure. Let's hit that real quick.
Guys, Michigan is not going to show too much, especially with that big game going against Oklahoma. Kept in Manila. Shout out to Bryce. You guys are talking about Auburn Baylor. In terms of significance, Florida State's game, I think, is still above in terms of changing the program's mentality and beating a team like Bama. But right below that, Baylor, Auburn, for Auburn is so crucial because, as my brother Brooks Austin said on his show, they're probably staring at 3 or 4 losses if they don't win last night and Hugh Freeze is out before Halloween. So they still have those monster games on the schedule. If you see what they have coming down the pipe, it's still going to be very ugly for Auburn, but impressive victory. They needed to win that game against Baylor last night, and they were able to take care of it, regardless of your opinion on Hugh Freeze and that team or Jackson Arnold and that team, man. If they lost that game last night, this guy's probably selling his house before Halloween.
That's tough.
So shout out to Auburn, man.
Definitely. Game to me, kind of watching the game, kind of went Baylor State, and it kind of similar to the Tennessee Syracuse game. Auburn really took off. Again, credit to Jackson Darnold. 11 for 17, no touchdown passes. But the offense was working. It was really getting it working on the ground, which is what he's leaned on. I think in order for Auburn to be elite, he's going to have to find Michael Simmons. He's going to have to find Cam Coleman. In the air. But I think the biggest takeaway for me on defense is Can Lee, man. Can Lee, brothers from Cedar Grove from the East Side, EA. Did his thing. But like you just alluded to, SB. a great win for them. You know what I'm saying? With RG3 on the call, it was just parody for me the whole time with everything that's happened during the off season. But big shout out to the Tigers for winning this one.
Yeah, they created a lot of explosive plays. A couple, a kick return for a touchdown. Running game. Obviously, Jackson Arnold gives you a different element at the quarterback position. He's not just a pocket passer. He can actually run for you. So that's a good telltale sign. But they got to improve their passing for sure. Too many elite weapons. Eric Singleton Jr. You mentioned obviously two of them. They're too elite to only have 108 passing yards. And Kaden Lee did do his thing. I'm worried about that defense though. I am. 419 yards passing. Good Lord. Like, I know they won the game, but come on, bro. That's not going to cut it, bro. And, I know Baylor got Sawyer Robertson. He's considered a top 10 quarterback in college football. But, yeah, that got to be better, bro. You know what I'm saying? You cannot win in the SEC giving up them kind of numbers. So I'm a little concerned there. The speed a little bit, with the linebacker position, I'm a little concerned about. But we'll see if, they can continue like, as we probably alluded to. They got a tough schedule. So it's good that they got this dub. They do got some positives to take away, but the defense got to be better.
Go back to team stats real quick.
400 yards is brutal, man. Is that gonna beat you? Is that gonna beat Oklahoma?
No.
With John Mateer? Probably not. Is that gonna beat Texas A&M at A&M? Probably not. Is that gonna beat Georgia? Probably not. That might not even be good enough to beat Tennessee, according to what we saw. So, hot seat is extremely hot. In terms of SEC coaches on the hot seat, I think it's him and Sam Pittman at this point. If I'm forgetting somebody, let me know. But they got to do better, man. They got to do better. You freeze. This is a big money year for you. If not, they're going to get somebody else in there. I don't know. Maybe a Jimbo Fisher or somebody like that. What do I know, right? I'm going to go on mute.
Hey, he does want to come back to college football from what we heard. So him and an outside pick that might shock you. John Gruden wants to coach in the SEC.
Ooh.
Gruden would be another one. And maybe another guy they give a call to. I don't know. Kenny Dillingham. I believe he coached at Auburn for a while. Very familiar with that. Boosters would be behind giving him what he's looking for. And he's already having an issue with Arizona State and resources and things along those lines. But hey, once again, what do I know? I'm going to go on mute.
That is funny. All right, y'all. So those are our recaps, man. My thoughts on college football week 1. Let's go top performers, y'all. Y'all give me some of y'all top performers, just guys that caught your eye. Just give me 3 top performers each. Guys that really stood out to y'all for week 1 of college football. Bacon, you started up.
Got to go Bryce. Haynes King for sure. And third, put me on the spot there, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Heck with it. We'll go people will probably clown me, but we'll go Big Gunny, man. We'll go Big Gunny Stockton, brother. Holding this fort down, keeping the morale high on UJ. I know it was against Marshall, but he did QB1 things for Georgia. He did what we would think a Georgia quarterback would do, you know what I'm saying, showing his arm talent. So those are my 3.
Okay. SB?
Yeah, it starts with Haynes King. Gutsy performance, put the team on his back. There's nothing this kid can't do athletically as a quarterback. Speaking to him in Charlotte when we were there, Nas, if this guy if he doesn't play in the NFL or doesn't play in the NFL long, bro, I think he's a coach, man. The way he talks the game, he's 100% coach, and a successful one at that. Outside of that, I did like obviously I'm gonna go with Castellanos. That's a big deal. You can talk the talk, but if you can back it up, he's got the keys to the city right now, so that's extremely impressive. Outside of that, I'm trying to think of. Aguilar you got to give Aguilar his love at this point. John Mateer, man. 30 for 37, 400 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. Mateer set himself up for a big game next week. The kid can sling it, man. So I think it's one of those rare occurrences where the player needs the program as bad as the program needs the player. Venables needs to win. There's been a lot of pressure on him, and Oklahoma has a standard. They're blue blood in college football, and Mateer put up numbers at Washington State, and he wanted a bigger bigger stage, and we've seen guys do that, like Cam Wards and things like that. So I'd have to give him a helmet sticker if that's what we're doing. I think. Well, this Beck kid from Iowa State went 19 for 20 with 4 touchdowns, 95% completion. He might be above everybody we're talking about. I think that's pretty damn impressive. Even if he wasn't playing the biggest competition, 19 for 20 is pretty damn hard to do. What do you think, Nash?
Nah, I think y'all boys hit the nail on the head, man. Y'all hit some really good ones. I'm gonna definitely go number one for me. I'm gonna go Joey Aguilar. There was so much, like you said, just noise on Tennessee, like they're done, and it's over. Again, it's Syracuse. We got to see them against elite SEC competition. But the way that man played today, I thought you got to give that man the game ball. 247 yards, 3 touchdowns, an elite deep ball down the field to Braylon Staley. He deserves obviously deserves a game ball, in my opinion. Really elite performance at the bins. He looked really good, so he gets my game ball. Number 2, I'm gonna go Ohio State defense, man. They were special today. They looked good, so I give the whole defense. A lot of people had questions. They lost some guys. Some guys moved on, some 5th, 6th-year seniors, and they didn't really miss a beat. As you alluded to earlier, SB, like they got guys all over. I really like that kid, Sonny Styles. Oh my goodness, he is elite. Like I like that kid there, so I give them my game ball. Excuse me. Let me think. I guess I'll give a game ball to just the Georgia defense as well. I know it wasn't just Marshall, but looked really good. Very, very skilled, very versatile. I thought they did their thing today. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely give Georgia a defensive game ball as well. Another elite performance for them. And the last one I'm going to do, let me see. I had written it down. I'm trying to find it. What happened? My last one, I'm going to give it to
I'm surprised you're not saying Haynes King, brother.
I feel like that's going to be everybody's common answer. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not really surprised. I know how special he is. It was an elite performance. You know what I'm saying? For sure. He put the team on his back. I told you a star was born for the national media. Not for me. I've seen it enough. I know how he carries himself. Played with a torn labrum last year. I don't know if you knew that, SB. So the kid don't surprise me no more. Like that kid's special. So it was an elite performance, but I know everybody else was going to say that, so that's why I didn't say him. But I'm going to go – I know it was Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm going to go Bryn Morton, 201 yards, just 2 incompletions today and 4 touchdowns. More touchdowns than incompletions in this Arkansas Pine Bluff. There's a lot of eyes, though, y'all, on Texas Tech. And all that money, they spent $30-some million on that roster, $25 million on that roster. It's going to be a lot of eyes on Texas Tech. So competition's going to get better, and it's going to get a little bit
Big 12's wide open, man. Big 12's wide open. If they want it, they can go get it. BYU can go get it. Arizona State can go get it. Colorado's still in it. They can go get it. I mean, it's the most parity of any of the major conferences. I know SEC has a lot of parity, but to a certain degree, the cream always rises to the top. There's probably only legitimately 4 teams in the top of the SEC that have a chance of winning the conference, getting to Atlanta. Maybe 4 still get to the playoff, but 4 actually winning the conference. But the Big 12, we don't know who's going to win that. And that's going to be really, really fun to watch. I mean, Kansas State struggled today. Yep. Kansas State struggled today against a team that should have. Come on, man. So we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, 2 incompletions is impressive. More touchdowns than incompletions is I mean, some people have a tough time doing that on rookie mode at NCAA. So on the video game. So shout out to him as well. I think that's a great pick.
100%. Now, I love y'all. We got a comment real quick. I know we're going to close out the show here in the next 6 minutes. Prediction for UNC game. Who wants to hit that first? That's on Monday.
TCU is going to win the game. I think TCU has. Yeah. I know North Carolina is probably the favorite. Just give us some time to gel. North Carolina does have an easy schedule, in my opinion, and I think they're going to get rolling at one point. But I think TCU is going to come in, listen to what the doubters are saying. And I think they need that game a bit more. I think TCU wins that game somehow, some way, extremely close, maybe field goal. And I think North Carolina will learn from it and then rebound. And they might be this year Syracuse in the ACC, right? They might be able to get on a run. Very, very formidable schedule. But they need time to gel. Having that many transfers, I think, 65, 70 transfers. Rome wasn't built in a day. I don't think they win on Monday night.
Okay. Bacon?
Not too well versed on both of these teams. I mean, we all know about Coach Bill Belichick and his acumen and attention to detail, which leads me to go UNC. But it'll be an interesting one. So for that measure, I'm gonna go UNC just for Bill Belichick's ability to over prepare. You know what I'm saying? And I know he's dealing with young men, he's young grown man. You know what I'm saying? 2, 3 year, 10-year NFL vets, but teams take on the identity of their head coach, and we'll see if game one, if this they've been around them long enough to take on that attention to detail. So I'm gonna roll with Belichick.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go ahead and go with I'm gonna go UNC. I agree with SB's right. Like it's gonna be hard to gel. How do they replace the production of Amarian Hampton, who's now in the NFL playing for the Chargers? That's a big question I have. They brought in Gio Lopez, obviously from South Alabama, so he's gonna be obviously a player to watch. Do they let him air the ball a lot, or would it be run heavy? You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be an early question to kind of know. For UNC, how do they look in the air in the regime of Bill Belichick? Well, that defense mirror some of those defenses he had with New England way back in the day. Always fast, lethal, really good in coverage. Let everything play in front of you, make the plays. It's going to be interesting to see that as well. TCU, Josh Hoover, is he legit? Is he legit? Can he be that guy? You know what I'm saying? That's one of my biggest questions with TCU. Can he be that guy? Or will they lean on the ground and pound attack just a little bit? So it's going to be interesting. But I'm gonna roll with UNC to come out on top. Got one more prediction before we get up out of here. SB, let's talk about the game tomorrow, man, because I'm definitely gonna be watching. We hit on it a little bit, but Notre Dame, Miami, man. Let's talk that one. Let's give us some predictions real quick before we get up out of here, man. Y'all thoughts on that game?
One word: bloodbath, man. Bloodbath. I don't know if you guys ever seen Rocky 3, Mr. T and Sylvester Stallone in the movie, and they asked Mr. T, and Clubber Lang is his character. One expectation for the fight. Pain is what he said, right? He said it just in that same tone. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Those guys are going to be taking shots at each other left and right. Last time Notre Dame went to Miami, didn't fare well. Two completely different situations. Like Bacon said, teams take the personality of their coach. Marcus Freeman, fast, physical football. Notre Dame. They're able to recruit at the elite level, and they're a very, very dangerous team. I think Notre Dame needs this game to show people that they're legit. I think Miami wants to be able to show people that they're legit, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat Notre Dame, even with CJ Carr in his first start down there in South Florida. I'm going to be down there, man. You're going to see the hat. You're going to know the vibes. I'm going to be on the field just like I was today. I think Notre Dame pulls it out very, very close. Miami's running game does make me nervous because they do have a stable running backs. Jordan Lyle, Mark Fletcher. That's as good of a 1-2 punch as you're going to find. Those receivers in Miami are really, really young.
Yes, they are.
It's not the same receiving core as last year. So does Carson Beck have enough time to gel with those guys, make the plays downfield? Your loss is an incredible player at tight end, Elijah Arroyo, who went second round to the Seahawks. You lost a leading receiver in school history, Xavier Restrepo. You lost Xavier Horton to Alabama. You lost a lot of guys. Is it going to be enough? Notre Dame's defense is going to be legit. I don't got to mention that monster at running back, Jeremiah Love. If that kid gets over 100 yards, it's game over. I think this is the most compelling game of the weekend. I know it's going to be following that Virginia Tech South Carolina game, so I think we're going to get some sneaky good football on Sunday. We've been starving for it all season. That Notre Dame Miami game is going to be a bloodbath. I don't care what the spread is. I think Notre Dame pulls it out. 2.5 is the spread. I think Notre Dame pulls it out, man. I think they cover. Notre Dame by 3. Walk-off field goal. That's what I think.
That'll be a good rush to Miami fans everywhere. This is a tough one. I'm really pulling for Beck, man. Carson Beck, going through everything he's went through. I think he's going to rise to the occasion, man, which is why I can't really necessarily pick Miami over Notre Dame because it's going to be close. But, so it can go either way. But I think I'm going to roll with the Fighting Irish, CJ Carr, 4-star quarterback coming out of high school, number 1 quarterback at Michigan. He's got everything he needs, to make plays. Then, Coach Freeman, we saw what type of season they had last year. We know what type of defense this team's gonna have. We know what type of pressure they're gonna put on Carson Beck. And but I think Beck's gonna be focused. But I got to roll with the Fighting Irish. You know what I'm saying? In a tight one, for sure.
Yeah, I expect this game as we alluded to be a bloodbath. I think they're gonna run the ball a lot. They're the best back in football.
Yeah.
Make this simple, man. Get that man the ball. He should have at least 15 to 20 touches. Easy. You got a brand new quarterback. This ain't Riley Leonard. This is CJ Carr, who barely earned the spot. Run the rock with Jeremiah Love. Set up play action. Hit your tight ends. One thing Notre Dame is gonna have is a damn tight end. So they're gonna have somebody that emerges at the tight end spot for them to be really good this year. You can book it. Will the receivers be as good? You know what I'm saying? We will find out. They were decent last year. Some came on towards the end of the season. Can they get more production out of that? We'll find out. One thing they're gonna always have though is a defense. That's Marcus Freeman's pedigree. That's his MO. That's what he's known for. So they're gonna have a defense regardless. So not concerned there. But just how did they look? Got so close last year, lost to Ohio State, could have won the national championship. How do you rebound? And then for Miami, I don't know. I have to see it with Beck. I'm not one of those. I know he's 27-3 as a starter. I'm worried because this is not a receiving core that's veteran led. This is not a receiving core that takes time to gel. Will he get frustrated? Will he press early in this game? Will he force throws that are in tight windows? You got to let receivers mesh and allow them to emerge. So this is a big matchup. And one we're not talking about, SB, can Mario Cristobal win a big game? My Lord. Like, when does he ever win big games?
He doesn't. I can't hate two teams more than I hate these two guys. I'm sorry. I hate Notre Dame. I'm from Miami, Florida. My family are Miami fans. I went to Florida State. I hate the Miami Hurricanes. But for the sake of this conversation, I think they have a shot. Mario Cristobal has never won a big game. You're going to have to start having real deal conversations about who Mario Cristobal is after this season, right? You put all this money into a roster. You won 10 games. You didn't even get to Charlotte, right? You've had all these recruiting classes, top 5 recruiting classes. You're spending all this money, and it's not alluding to anything. You're not getting to Charlotte. You're not winning conference. Can't even win the champs. You can't even win the Pop-Tart Bowl in Orlando. So what big games is he winning? I know he talks a good game. He's a Miami guy. He's got the Cuban flair. It's not resulting in big games, man. Better coaches have been fired at Miami for less. Miami let go of a coach who won the national championship 20 years ago. What has Mario Cristobal done? Just because he's a native son of Miami, you're gonna keep him. You're gonna continue to keep him there. He's looking like the Cuban Mark Richt. I'm sorry. Mark Richt won 10 games a million times in Georgia. Never won big games. Never won the Natty. With all the talent that we have in the state of Georgia, he's the Cuban Mark Richt. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If he doesn't win tomorrow, conversation needs to be a little bit louder on that.
That's a good clip right there, brother. I ain't gonna lie.
It's a great clip. You know what I'm saying? SB keeping it real as he always does. So we'll see.
I ain't Julian, but I try. Shout out to Julian.
All right, but you do a good job, man. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go Notre Dame. Miami's my favorite team. That's my squad. But yeah, I have to see it from Beck first. I'm not gonna just get into nitty gritty and believe everything he's saying. Like I got to see it. And like you said, just lean on Lyles and lean on Mark Fletcher. You got to run it back tandem. Let them do their thing. And last thing, can our secondary be better? Can our pass? Because we got torched last year. Can that be better? You predominantly stop the run, but they still throwing over your head and lighting you up. Oof, it's gonna be a long night. But I am excited for that game. I even told Pops because I was born in Miami, from there before I moved up here. Pops is from Miami too, so obviously I told him to watch that game, check that one out because that's gonna be a really good game. You know what I'm saying? First one in a long time.
Miami.
Good fight, man. Miami's schedule is brutal. I'm sure you and your dad can discuss that. Miami's schedule is brutal beginning of the season. This is a heavyweight fight. You got Florida in a couple weeks, man. You got Florida. You got USF. USF is no slouch. You got that fight. Then you got Florida. Then you got to come see us until last year, October 4th. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who did Syracuse schedule.
While it's coming back, man, stay tuned for number 10 in orange or green. Raul Aguirre, man. We're gonna hold down the middle. We're gonna hold down the middle for the Hurricanes, man. Expect the big things out of him, man. From the area, Cowboy the Fed area. I'm looking for you to make some plays, brother. Turnovers.
Go ahead, SB. You were saying something. You got cut out, bro.
Yeah, the same evil demon that did Syracuse's schedule did Miami's schedule in the beginning of the season. This is brutal, man. This is brutal, but yeah, I like Carson Beck, man. You know, I just want to see how good he is. I mean, you're talking about a guy who arguably was, you know, going into certain preseason mock drafts, a possible #1 pick going into last year's draft. He lost a lot of money. The biggest question mark on Carson Beck is leadership. It's not arm talent. He's got everything he needs to do. Mentally, he's there. Physically, he can make all the throws. I mean, I think Georgia led the country in drops last year. He was still able to be resilient and get them to Atlanta. But can he be a leader? Cam Ward was a leader. Man, that's what elevated this team to 10 wins last year. They're going to need the same from Carson starting tomorrow.
Agree, brother. All right, y'all. So as we close it out, any last closing thoughts on the first recap show we have? We'll be back same time next week about 11:45 or after all the college football action. But any closing thoughts, folks, before we get out of here?
Great show, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're here every Saturday, same time, same great station on YouTube, because guys is dropping knowledge, man. 100%.
Hit on the head. Super excited about the college show that we're having every week. We're providing unique perspectives, and just glad football's back, man. It's been long enough. Week 0 didn't count. This is the real football. Last week was foo-foo. This is the real stuff.
Yeah, a little teaser. Yes, sir, man. Well, guys, it's gonna wrap us up, man. We will see you guys same time, same place next week, Saturday at 11:45. We will be recapping and live reacting to that Bryce Underwood start and his first primetime start, obviously on ESPN, man. So y'all stay tuned for that against in Norman, Oklahoma, against John Mateer and the Sooners, man. That's all we got. If you love this trio, we will be back on Monday for our high school recap show. We got a lot to get into, some hot takes, an apology letter, and obviously Julian getting called out and banned. So we'll talk about that and them putting the belt. If you haven't seen that, go check out the video on Bacon and obviously my profile. The belt to DeSoto, Texas, a top team.
Shout out to the Swamp, man. Creekside's for real this year. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in the next one, man. Enjoy y'all night and peace.
Peace.